Hi everyone, this is Ravi Gupta. Welcome to EnggAdda. So today we will be discussing about the retrofit in Spring Boot, how we can use the retrofit to call the third-party API in Spring Boot. So what is retrofit first of all, and how we can use it? So retrofit is a type-safe HTTP client for Android and Java. Okay, and what it does is retrofit turns your HTTP APIs into the Java interfaces. Okay, so whatever API, the third-party API we are going to call, it will call by the retrofit, and those API will be automatically converted to the Java interfaces. So it is easy to use. So what are the steps that we need to follow to use the retrofit in the Spring Boot? There is a steps I have noted down. So step to be followed to call the third-party API is first we need to create a retrofit constant. The second is to get retrofit instance. Third is API declaration. So we need to declare the API. So here you can see in the picture here at the red gate post. So this is how we try to declare the API, third-party API inside the Spring Boot, using the retrofit. Okay, and then we need to call these APIs, okay, into the services or service method that we have created. So these are the simple steps that we need to follow for the retrofit. Okay, so yeah, I will next I will be going to create one Spring Boot project, and there I will demonstrate how we can use the retrofit, and using the retrofit how we can call the third party API. So this is the first thing, okay. And I just want to brief you about the third party API first. Third party API first, okay. So here you can see JSON placeholder. So this is a site I just went through. So this site provides third party APIs, I would say. There are a couple of APIs that is already there. So I will be using those API from here. So you can go to the JSON placeholder and then you go to the guide. So inside the guide, you can see listing of the resources and everything is there. Okay. So I will be using I would say one of these resources. So here you can say getting a resource. So if you will use this link, you directly go to the browser, and then here I already was using this. So if you use this link, then sorry, I need to remove this comma. So here you can see it is returning some value. Similar way, if you want to, like it is sorting out the list of posts of user ID one. But if you want to sort all the posts, if you want to display all the posts, so you can remove this one, and then yeah, you can see all the posts are there. So this is a simple API and it has some value. Okay. So we will be using these things. So these two steps are completed. Like brief you about the uh, I brief you about the topic that we are going to discuss, retrofit, and how we are what steps that we are going to follow. I also brief you about it. And the third party API that we are going to use is a JSON placeholder. Okay. So these things are clear. Now I will be going to create one Spring Boot project, and then from there we start the development. Okay. So yeah, I will be opening the IntelliJ and I will be creating one project. So just let me open the IntelliJ. So here, yeah, go to the project and I will create one Spring project. Okay, so let it name as a retrofit example or retrofit in Spring Boot, retrofit and Spring Boot. Okay, let it everything like that, and then okay, I will be using Lambok, and then a Spring Web will be used. And we also need two other dependencies like retrofit 2.0 and the JSON converter. So those things are required. So externally we can download from the Maven repository, and then we'll put it in the project. So right now I'm just creating this with these two. starter dependencies. So yeah, let it create, and then after that, yeah. So those two dependency I'm just going to download from the Maven. Okay. So Maven repository, Maven repository. So here you can search for the retrofit, right? So search for the retrofit. So here you can see retrofit 2. Open it. You can go for the version 2.9, and simply you can copy this dependency and put it into the pom.xml file. So let open the pom XML file. This project is completely, yeah, created. So open the pom, go to the dependencies section. So the web is there, Lambok is there. Go to the dependencies section, and beside the test, I'm just going to paste it here. So just rerun the map so that it can download all the dependencies that we put. So this is there, and then we need the JSON converter, right? So search for it, and then yeah, just open it similar way, copy this, and then paste it into the pom.xml, and then refresh the Maven so that it can download it. So our basic steps are done. Okay, and in the beginning I told that we will be using this JSON placeholder, and uh, we are using this API. So whenever I'm trying to find out this URL into the browser, you can see it is giving the result, right? So this API is returning some content which is having four fields: user ID, title, and body. So user ID and ID is of integer type, title and body is of type of string, right? So this is a post, okay. So I'm just going to create the post entity or model, you can say, and based on that, we'll create all the other things, right? So yeah. So let me create some packages there, and then we'll try to see what we can do next. So yeah, I'm just going to create a model, and going to create some repo, going to create some service, okay, and retrofit constant we need to create. So constant uh, controller, okay, and util. So these things, these packages are required. So in the model I will be creating one simple Java class, Pojo class, I would say, with the name called post. And here we have some instance variables like user ID, and the body, and what the other thing was there, the title. So that thing I will create here. Okay. So yeah, let me create it. Private int. What are the things? Just copy from there, and then user ID, and okay, user ID, private int ID, private string, body, and private string title. So let's see, this is the order, title and body is there. Let's create this. And we have already use the dependency called Lambok. So using that, we can directly create the getter and setters and argument, all argument constructor and all. So yeah, this data will generate the getter and setter. This annotation is used to generate the getter and setter. It won't be able to, we won't be able to see, but yeah, internally it is created, and whenever we want to use, we can use it. Similar way, all argument constructor, no argument constructor. Okay, and yeah, these things are required. Okay, now coming to the service and util. So first of all, I'm just following this step. Where is that? So first of all, I need to create the retrofit constant. Okay, so just going to create one constant there. So let me create one class retrofit constant. Okay, this should be having a constant base URL. Okay, just let me. So what this class is containing is it will contain a base URL of the third party API that we are going to use. So you can see from till here it is a base of this URL, the API that we are going to use. Okay, so you can see till here it is a base URL. After that, if you'll put posts here, then it will give these things. If you'll after the post, if you'll filter out by the ID, then it will give these things. Okay, so these are the base URL. So w- that is we are going to use as a constant. Okay, so we are creating a retrofit constant, and we are using this base URL there. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to create the retrofit constant. Okay, so retrofit constant is like I already told you, right? So we are keeping this as a constant, retrofit constant, which is a base URL. So yeah, I'm just copy that private static final, and then the string type it is, and it is of base URL, which is this. Okay, then this is done. Now I'm going to the next step that you can see in the presentation is get retrofit instance. So now I will be creating the retrofit instance. Okay, so for that I created the package called util, and there I will be creating a class called retrofit util. Okay, and then here I will be basically we need to create an instance of the retrofit. So if the instance is already null, then we need to create it. So yeah, simply we are just returning an instance of the retrofit here. So just try to create that retrofit. See, you have to use this retrofit, and then it's variable. So say if it is null already, then how we are going to create the instance. So I will be creating one method, public static retrofit type, and then get the instance of retrofit, get retrofit instance. Okay, and then here you can say if the retrofit is null, is this variable is null, then we need to create the value for that. Okay, so new retrofit dot builder, and then base URL, and that base URL should be from the retrofit constant, right? So retrofit constants dot base URL. Why it is not coming? Let me see. So it should be private study base URL. Create constant fill this public build, and then what we need to do is just whatever URL that we are getting. Okay, so this will give a value. Okay, so we need to convert it to the uh, JSON factory. Okay, so for that, first we need to convert it to the JSON factory, and then we need to build it. So I'm going to do that. Add convert factory, and inside that, what we need to do is we need to convert into the JSON convert factory, JSON convert factory dot create, where it is, and then we need to build it. Okay, so this is how it's look like. So, and then once it is created, what we can do is we can simply return the retrofit. So it will create one instance. Okay, return retrofit. So we are good with the retrofit util. Now I'm just going to create the so sorry guys, we don't need the repos here because we are not using the databases here. Okay, so I'm just going to delete it. Okay, and now I will be so like we have created the model, we have created the constant, we have created the util, and now this the main development is going to happen, that is service. So we will be creating two APIs. Okay, two abstract two interfaces, I would say. One is the post service and the another is the post API. So I will let you know what should be there. Post service interface and post API. Okay, it should be interface. And now for the post service, we need to have a package. We need to have a implementation class. So for that only I created this package, and inside that I will be creating the post service IMPL class. Okay, so this is there. It should. So first of all, I will just create one method here. So say this method is a list of posts. Okay, and then get all or fetch post, something like that. Fetch posts, and okay, it should be public. Let it be okay. So it is interface. We need not okay. Now in the IMPL, I just need to implement this post service. Okay, and we can override that method. Okay, so and inside it we are going to just call this uh, post APIs. Okay, so in the post API we will see how we can map those APIs using the retrofit constant and the retrofit util, and then how we can call it inside the post service IMPL class. So those things we are going to develop now. Now we are done with this two steps, I would say. Created the instance and created the constant, and now we have to do the API declaration. So for that only I have created this interface called post API. Okay, so inside that we need to have some declarations. So you can see here we have to declare something like this so that it can use that APIs, the third party APIs. Okay, so using the retrofit, yeah, we are going to declare those things there. So here inside the post API, I'm just going to do one mapping, and we have to call the list of post, and let me include this as well. Fetch posts, I would say. Okay, so should be a public type, and we need to, one thing is missing here, and here you can map it like posts. Okay, so one declaration we did here. Okay, and now coming to the implementation part, we are going to use this whole thing like retrofit constant we already use into the retrofit util to get the instance. Okay, and now using this post API implementation, uh, we are just fetching all the posts. Okay, and now in the post service IMPL we are going to use all of those things. Okay, so here before that we will be needing the retrofit instance as well as the post API instance. So I'm just going to create an instance of them. Retrofit, and I'm just going to create the constructor. Sorry, we'll be getting the instance from the, I would say, from this retrofit util, we can directly get the instance for this. Okay, so that I'm going to do. Okay, so retrofit get instance, and then for this post API, I would say we can create the retrofit. Okay, so yeah, we are good with the constructor, guys, and now we are going to implement this method. Okay, so first of all, this method is returning the list of posts. So I'm just going to create a list, empty list, I would say, list of post type, and then this would be of array list, I would say, and let it name as a post response. And now what I need to do is remove this. What I need to do is we are going to just all we have to fetch, like we have to fetch all the posts that we have mapped here in the post API. So that is what we are going to do here. So it is of call type and it is of list of posts. So and now fetch all posts, I can name it fetch post call, I would say. And then using the post API fetch post method, we are just going to fetch it. Okay, here you can see it. So that thing is done. Now we have the like we have the link of or we have the URL here in the fetch post call, which is having all the values, but still the values are not there in the fetch post call. So how we are going to get the values? So for that, it's having like retrofit is having two methods, that is execute and enqueue. So it's still like why we have the two methods execute and enqueue with the retrofit to get the actual content. So uh, because of the synchronous and asynchronous call. So if you go for the asynchronous call, then you can use the enqueue, and if you want to go for the synchronous call, then you can use the execute one. So here I'm going to use the execute one, okay, and its return type is a response, okay. So we are just going to grab uh, all the response inside some response type, okay. So using the fetch call dot execute, so you can see those two methods, right? And then we have to collect it somewhere. So it is a response type and it is of type, like it is returning a list of all the posts. Let it name as response. And why it is giving some error? Because we need to because it can, like sometime what happens, this call is broken, okay. So you're going to call this API, but it is not because of some internal server error, some error, it is not getting that call. The call is not completed. So that is why we are just going to surround it with the try catch, or we need to throw some exception, okay. So I'm going to surround it with the try catch. And so this till this step we have the response, but we don't know if this response is empty or not. So we have some checks that we need to do here, and then we'll be returning the response object. Okay. So I'm going to do that. So response is successful or not, and then we can have the response dot body should not be null for that. And if this is clear, then what we can do, we can directly inside the first one that we have created the empty list of posts. Inside that we can directly get the body of the response, and then simply here we can return this one. So we are completed these things, okay. So this method is completed. I will just summarize it. So we have created one list of the post, and then from post API we are just calling this mapping so that we can get the URL from there, okay. And after that we have the URL now, but we don't have the actual body or actual response. So either using the enqueue or the execute, we can call that response. Still, we have some checks that we need to do is if this response is empty or not. So those things we did, and then we just assigning the response to the post response, and then just returning that. So it's a simple thing. Okay. Now I will coming to the controller class. I will create one post controller, and from there we can call that. Call the service IMPL, okay. So it's a simple one. Uh, it should be at the rate REST controller request mapping. Let it map like something like what I would say. mm, V1 retrofit, retrofit, and then what we need to do is we have to create one get mapping method here. Okay, so in that mapping method we will just directly call the service IMPL method. So for that we need to have what I can say, we need to have this auto add the service implementation class, sorry, service interface we can auto add here. Okay, the post service we can auto add this instance, and then what is giving this encouraging listen point. Okay, let me create first and then we'll see why it is not coming that way. And here let's say it is a list of posts. Okay, and we are creating a method called, it will return the list of posts, and it should be of fetch post I would say. And then simply we can call this post service dot fetch post, and we can simply return it. Okay, but why we are getting this error I don't know. Incorrect is inside the post controller only, we need to auto add this fetch post. Okay, let me run it first and then we'll see. Okay, so I'm just going to run this on the server dot port number server dot port, sorry, 9090 I would say, and then try to run it and see what is happening. So basically using that API that we have created in the controller, we could be able to call the post one. Okay, so we are getting some error here. Application error. Okay. Bean should not be created. Okay, so this should be of this post service of type, I would say, service. Okay, and then try again. Post control required a bean of type this spring service post service. What should be there? I think we are missing something, some annotation we are missing. Just I would say uh, post service should be the service one. Yeah, should return a bean, and then post service IMPL should be of type component because yeah, we are creating a bean out of it. So let me see. Yeah, so it is up on 9090, and now using the URL, I can see like see what is happening. Localhost 9090 and then v1 retrofit slash posts. Okay, okay, it is not HTTPS. Yeah, so you can see we are getting the result. So this is the URL, right? You can see here in the controller, you can see v1 retrofit. Okay, and then for this method, we are going for the post. Okay, so that is what I pasted it here. So we are getting the result. We are good with the development, guys. Thanks for the support and keep subscribing and keep commenting out if you need some other additional video on some development, Spring Boot development. So thanks for support, guys. Please subscribe my channel. Thanks.